What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only Tesla stock, what you should be looking after for the future. I'm also going to do some in-depth technical analysis and give you guys my price prediction for tomorrow based off what the charts are showing and based off what the data is suggesting. I'm also going to talk about the overall market and how this may affect Tesla, and also some very important things many big news articles are saying about Tesla and Apple. Now, before I break anything down, before I get into any more details, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Don't take any of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you're guaranteed up to 12 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000. And the best part is, out of these 12 free stocks, one of them may be an Apple share. So it's a limited time offer. The offer ends in just 8 days. Please check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So looking at Tesla, we're down about 2.51% for the day on Friday. Obviously, the market is closed right now. It's going to be closed in commemorance of Labor Day. But for tomorrow, that's when the market's going to open again. And I want to talk about what may end up happening to the overall market and Tesla based off that. So just to note something very important, SPY right now is in a very, very key zone in my honest opinion. Different people have different ways of doing technical analysis. Some people actually use trend lines, and that is something we can actually draw out for the SPY, because right now we can actually draw out this bottom phase right here and talk about this trend that it has been following for quite a bit of time. But in my honest opinion, it doesn't look like this trend is going to hold us as well, especially if you try to draw it out kind of like this and form this really nice pennant right over here. But I don't really see it that way. I mean, I just wanted to make that very clear. Other people draw it out like this. I personally think that just because the SPY is in a very key zone where it could get a slight bounce, I just don't really see it holding up and pushing all the way back to these levels for the short term. It looks more like it's going to remain in the lower end right here and actually get a breakout to the downside. Now, I can't guarantee it's going to crash really hard just yet, but I want to talk about the very key levels you should watch for on SPY and how this could affect Tesla as well. On the daily chart on SPY, we're about to get, or we're super close to get, this 1348 EMA cross. I think we already got it. And if you don't know what that means, that's typically a very bearish signal for the markets. And it does look like SPY is going to come down a little bit more for the next couple of weeks. Additionally, we are trading below the 200 EMA, which is once again another signal out there that suggests the SPY is going to come down a little bit more. And we are on more of a downtrend. So with that said, what I see coming from SPY is this. On the 5-minute candle, I have some very key zones for it. I believe SPY is going to bounce between 390 and that 398 range. We're going to basically stay back and forth around here, but it's going to be harder for us to get back to these higher levels because 395 is now acting as resistance. So the SPY is going to struggle a lot, and it looks more like, in my honest opinion, if it can't hold 390, we're going to come down to that 380 level. And if the whole market is dropping like this, SPY is just one of the representatives of it. We can see the NASDAQ performing very similarly as well, and the whole market actually dropping a little bit more. If you look at the daily on the NASDAQ, we're also getting that 1348 EMA cross to the downside, once again below the 200 EMA. So that all suggests that the overall market is looking a little bit more, or I would say a lot more bearish than bullish. And it does look like the bears are going to have the edge and drag the market down a little bit more. So how may this affect Tesla? That's the real question everyone's wondering. The first thing to always note, there tends to be that correlation between SPY and Tesla. And on top of that, we're seeing this increase in the ratio of their price pairs. That's once again a signal that Tesla tends to actually move a little bit more than before relative to SPY after the whole split happened. And that can make Tesla a little bit more volatile going forward. And we could see we're getting lots, or a big increase in the intraday volume right over here from these lower ends right here. So we may see a lot of action in that high 260 range right over there as well. Now, I want to make it clear, guys, just because Tesla is looking kind of bearish, I have not lost faith in the company. I'm super bullish long term. Their AI, their cars, their deliveries, their gigafactories are all amazing. And that's why many big banks out there are actually giving Tesla big buy ratings, like Morgan Stanley, Deutsche Bank, Jefferies. They're all saying Tesla looks very good right now. And I feel the exact same way. I'm still very bullish, but I'm not giving financial advice as to when you should be buying. Now, there is something very important you need to pay attention to, and that's the options chain for both Tesla and the SPY. And we are seeing a very similar trend right over here. So let's actually look at SPY first. What you'll notice is going into last Friday, there tended to be more puts than calls that were bought, and institutions tended to push the price down to not just get them in the money, but to actually make more money on the way down. So what we're seeing is there's actually a big increase in puts to call ratios for SPY going into the 6th of September all the way until the 9th of September. So by Friday, there's a big amount of puts compared to how many calls there are. And it looks like big institutions are still trying to push the market down a little bit more. Now, Max Payne is still at that 400 range, which makes it very unlikely for SPY to actually get a big bounce and push into the low 400s again. It looks more like we are going to close well below 400 in my opinion, and this will actually drag the whole market down a little bit more. But I would say more towards the next 2 weeks than solely just next week, because in Tesla's case, when you look at the options chain, if you look at the put to call ratio, there were actually a little bit more puts than calls. I'm sorry, more calls than puts last week, and Max Payne was in that 280 range. And what happened was the institutions they pushed Tesla down to that 270, which is where we closed as the whole market took a hit. And what you're seeing right here is for Friday, right here, Max Payne is once again at 280, but we are seeing more puts than calls this time. And it gets even worse for the week after as we approach FOMC, the big Fed meeting. We have just about the same ratio. It's very similar, but Max Payne is only 266. This is an indication Tesla will most likely, in my opinion, come back down to the 260s very soon within the next week to week and a half. Now, I know you guys don't like to hear that. I know it's just, no one really wants to hear that, but it is what the charts are suggesting, and Tesla is slowly respecting a downtrend. On the daily, it looks like we're about to get another 1348 EMA cross, and we did fall below the 200 EMA. As of right now, we closed well below it, so it does look like Tesla is going to come down a little bit more as time goes on. Now, Tesla having a big drop depends on SPY and the overall market too. Right now, SPY is trying to hold $390 a share. And what's happening is when we touch 390, we tend to get big bounces off of it. So we're going to fight for 390 to see if the bulls could actually try to get that buying pressure right in that zone and keep SPY up there. If they can't do that, 380s will come, the whole market will most likely take a hit, and Tesla will get dragged down with it. Now, just to make this clear, it's not Tesla's fault. They're an amazing company, but if the whole market is taking a hit like this, it will have an effect on Tesla. So what I'm essentially anticipating is I see Tesla trading, kind of range trading for the week as of right now if SPY does hold 390. But if SPY breaks below it, then Tesla is going to break down. And it does seem like that's very likely to happen within the next 2 weeks, in my honest opinion. So if Tesla pushes up temporarily, just note 272 is going to be resistance. We also have the 5 minutes 200 EMA, which could act as resistance around that mid 270 range. Then finally, 280 is going to be resistance as well. Tesla did get lots of rejections off that zone. Now, if Tesla does come down, if we can't hold 270, then you have to watch for that 266 to 265 range. That's a very key zone right over there. And if we don't hold that, I'm going to be watching for 259. I think Tesla has a gap to be filled right over there. We may actually see that gap fill. And in my honest opinion, I think it's very likely we test this zone within the next 2 weeks. It really depends on how strong the bears are and how the bulls react. But one thing to note is we do have a short week this week because the market was closed for Monday. And typically during these short weeks, the market does not perform as well because there's not as many buyers, not as much volume, not as long of a week. So it is something to just note. For tomorrow, what I'm essentially seeing is just very choppy price action with a bit of a downtrend kind of mixed in within it. So into open, I wouldn't be surprised if Tesla pushes up, tries to actually break to that like 275 range, we may actually test the 200 EMA on the 5 minute, just for example, get rejection off that. And I think we're going to basically range trade between, I would say, maybe the 270, maybe come a little bit lower to that 265, 266 range, and just trade sideways throughout the majority of the day. But if the whole market does take a hit, if the bears come in very, very hard and they manage to push SPY below 390, Tesla could end up coming all the way down to that 260 flat range, 259 as well. Very, very possible. As of right now, it has not happened, and SPY has been bouncing off 390 like crazy. So I wouldn't be too confident about that happening just yet, but it still is very possible, and it seems more likely to happen sometime within the next 2 weeks. But in the meantime, I just anticipate very choppy sideways price action for Tesla, just like this, and maybe a slightly red close again, as the market is still not looking that great. So I do think Tesla is going to close around that high 260 range, just like this. And I am anticipating a slight red day for tomorrow, in my honest opinion. Now, just to make it clear, the whole market still seems pretty bearish, and it does look like big institutions are essentially getting ready for it. And that's the reason why max pain for SPY, it's still, I mean, max pain for SPY doesn't matter as much as it does for Tesla, but we are seeing a lot more put buys for Friday of this week, and they really like to make money off of them. The market makers are going to want to profit off Tesla, where max pain is very close to the end of next week. So I do think that by September 16th, it's very likely that Tesla will get a lower close around that 260 range, maybe even lower than that. And that's the reason why the overall trend is looking more bearish than bullish, because this is how the market makers that sell these options to everyday people like you and me, maybe other people that are their friends as well, this is how they make their money based off max pain. It's the most profitable share price for Tesla to close at for Friday for them. So it does look like for the week, we're probably going to see lots of choppy price action, maybe some downtrend to it. But I do think as we get closer to the 21st of September, we're going to see even more bearish price action. And I do anticipate that the week after this coming trading week is going to be even more bearish, and Tesla will come down to that 250, 260 range based off what this is showing. Now, with that said, I know some people in the comments even mentioned they don't like me always talking about Tesla dropping. My honest view of this is what the charts are showing. This is what the trend is showing. Obviously, Tesla is coming down relative to where it was a couple of weeks ago. We're clearly seeing this, but this is just about the price action of the chart. Please notice Tesla is still an absolutely incredible company. They're going to kill it long term. I'm still insanely bullish. I see the share price going to thousands over the next few years. Not financial advice, by the way. I just want to make that as clear as possible. This is solely based off what the charts are showing, and this is why Tesla's looking this way. As far as other indicators go, just real quick, let me actually show them to you. When we look at the overall trend, Tesla is still declining, and it still is showing a very similar trend to what it has shown in the past when it was coming down. So if I look at, for instance, the daily, let's just use the daily just as an example. Right over here on the daily, RSI is still coming down. It's not completely oversold. So that's an indication that relative to before, Tesla does have a little bit more downside to come, and it's not completely oversold. It is lacking some strength right now, which is why RSI is down. And the MACD still looks wide open right now. We're still seeing these very wide looking histograms just like that. And that's the main reason as to why the trend still looks pretty bearish. As far as volume goes, pretty moderate volume. It's not necessarily that great just yet. And that's why I do think the trend is kind of slow, because we're not dropping like 5, 10, or like 7% a day. We're usually just dropping like 1% or just very slowly. And overall, that is what the data is basically showing us. Now, as far as other indicators go, I mean, we could look at the OBV or other things like that. We don't really need to, because the trend is pretty obvious from this point. I'm sure you guys get the main idea right now. This is what the data shows. Now, as far as the other pieces of news that are coming out are talking about, I am seeing very, very interesting articles. Right now, Business Insider is reporting that Apple cars appear to be more popular than Tesla even before they hit the road, according to a survey. In my honest opinion, I don't really worry about things like this. Many big news outlets and surveys could be very biased. And the truth is, it does not matter, because what matters is who is getting the cars on the road, how many sales are they getting. As of right now, I respect Apple. I think they're a very amazing company to buy for the long term. Once again, not financial advice, but they're an awesome company, but they haven't actually produced the cars yet. They're not selling them just yet. So there's very little we could actually say. And there are lots of articles that like to actually belittle Tesla on a daily basis. So this is just part of their agenda, their little plans. It happens on all the time. There's not really much else to say from there. Now, as far as Jay Leno goes, he mentioned that Elon Musk deserves a lot of credit for leading the EV charge. I definitely agree with him. We are in a new revolution of EVs, and I think we're just barely entering this trend, and it's going to get absolutely massive as years go on, and that's one of the very bullish catalysts for the long-term future of Tesla. With that said, I give lots of credit to Elon Musk and the entire Tesla team for all the hard work they do, and also other companies out there that are also trying to actually push for this change. Competition is great for economies. It's really great for actually increasing output and efficiency. And I really believe that it's really helping us allocate our resources a lot more efficiently. With that said, I want to thank each and every one of you for listening. I gave you guys my price prediction, and overall, the trend still looks bearish for the markets overall. That doesn't mean every single day has to be red, but the overall trend is suggesting that we will likely see more red than green. So please be prepared for this. Nothing I said is financial advice. Do what you have to do, remain calm, cool, and collected, and I will most definitely see you guys in the next video. Enjoy your weekend, get ready for tomorrow, Tesla to the moon because the long-term future is bright, and peace out.